Welcome back to this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Malik, and we actually got some pretty interesting things to talk about that I think y'all will find interesting as well. Sorry about that. Sinuses are really kicking me right now, so y'all forgive me, especially if my voice doesn't sound the greatest. But let's get straight into it. So basically, Steph Curry recently went on a podcast and basically said, basically praised Ja Morant, gave him a great amount of praise. It was, I believe, it was a YouTube podcast. I can't remember the name of it, but basically he was just honest and said that I think the question was who's the most athletic person in the league, and he easily said, "quote right here, Ja Morant. I think pound for pound, he's the most athletic dude in the league," and right there, it's really good to see guys like Steph Curry give Ja Morant his flowers. I mean, it's no secret that to me that Steph Curry loves playing with Ja Morant, playing against Ja Morant, I should say. Both of them have had very good duels. I mean, we had a good playoff series between the two. Obviously, before Ja Morant got hurt, the play-in game last season, that was a classic. Even though the Grizzlies fell short in that one, it was a classic. So it's good to see guys like Steph Curry praise Ja Morant, especially in a time where the national media looks for propaganda to push, and they kind of stick with it. And 9 times out of 10, it's very negative. And that's just the national media speaking. So it's good to see that the players are really getting behind each other and really just being open and vocal about who's the best at what and that. Because it's no doubt that if you ask Ja Morant who's the best shooter in the league, he's going to say Steph Curry. Everybody should say Steph Curry. He's the greatest shooter of all time. So it's great to see Steph Curry doing something like that. Thought that was a cool little fact to it, especially since I saw a list earlier today talking about some Ja Morant, one of the most overrated point guards in the league, and then you see Steph Curry literally praising him as one of the better ones. So very good sight to see. Really, I got much to say about that one. You already know how I feel about that. Now, speaking of overrated, I came across this while looking for things to talk to you guys about, and this right here, it's from Bleacher Report's. Bleacher Report made a list, I think, essentially saying the top five most overrated players, and I can't believe I'm saying it because it really is funny, but Jaren Jackson Jr. is on the list. Like he's on the list, which is funny to me. It's the list is ranking the most overrated NBA players right now, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is third on the list behind, let's see, Tyler Hero and LaMelo Ball. And their reasoning for it, and I'm going to read it right here. His reality rarely rises anywhere near the ideal level. He isn't a good or even average rebounder. He mutes his own defensive impact by fouling his way off the floor. His scoring is a lot of spoon-fed stuff. Nearly 55% of his twos and 95% of his threes have been assisted. And his shooting efficiency comes and goes. 37.5% from three this past season, 32% the year prior. He was regarded as a star and paid like a superstar, but the stat sheet doesn't see it. He is inconsistent in both availability, 70-plus games twice, 30-plus minutes once, and impact negative net differential in 4 of 7 seasons. He isn't much of a ball handler or a playmaker, so a lot of his size, a lot of his value, I should say, is tied to that defensive ability and floor spacing. He's almost like a jumbo-sized 3-and-D wing, which is helpful to have, but certainly not face of the franchise material. Well, it would be good if that would make sense if he was the face of the franchise. He's not. And as far as him being an average rebounder, people have to understand. You may have your complaints about Jaren Jackson rebounding, but it's all about the system. I think no matter I think because of the system, Jaren rebounds how he rebounds. Think about it. This is a guy who was around Steven Adams. Steven Adams just happened to be the best rebounder in the league. Then comes Zach Edey. Zach Edey for a stretch is the best rebounder in the league with a different coach. He doesn't need to rebound as much as y'all think. You think because of the size he would, but he doesn't need to. Now, granted, yes, I wish he did rebound more, but at the end of the day, if the starting five has 15 to 20 rebounds, why are we looking at Jaren Jackson Jr.? I feel like we just look at his rebounding sometimes as like a scapegoat to say why we didn't win and all that. In reality, most of the time, it really doesn't matter. That's the funny part. Now, I do agree with them with the fouling issue because I do wish Jaren would fix that, but I don't think that makes him top 3 most overrated players in the league. That is crazy. And then, not to mention, I've said it here multiple times before. You have to be, you have to have national attention to be considered overrated in my book. Jaren Jackson Jr. does not have national attention. That's just the reality of him. And not in this line right here. His scoring is a lot of spoon-fed stuff. Nearly 55% of his twos and 95% of his threes have been assisted. It's almost like he's a power forward. What power forward? Not most power forwards aren't scoring most of their points unassisted. He has one of the better playmaking guards and backup point guards in the league. What are we talking about? So that's just stupid to me right there. And then if you actually watch Jaren Jackson Jr. and not pay attention to the numbers, you would know that, hey, he actually does pretty good in the post. Like, he actually works hard in the post, gets his shot when he really does, move quick enough. And then not to mention that 95% of his threes have been assistant. Jaren Jackson Jr. shoots mostly catch and shoot threes. I don't expect Jaren Jackson Jr. to shoot off the dribble. Like, that's Bleacher Report is just dumb, and the person that made this article was just looking for clicks because they just automatically just think like, oh, let's just target the guy who we feel is overpaid and all this and that. Look, you may think Jaren Jackson Jr. is overpaid, but the reality is he is an All-NBA caliber player, and he was nearly made All-NBA third team last year. So you can say what you want, but to me, he's not overrated. He's not overrated. Granted, yes, he probably could play better in the playoffs, but he is not overrated to me, and he's definitely not top 5 overrated. He doesn't even reach overrated status to me because, like I say, you have to have high regard to be overrated. Nobody in the national media is giving Jaren Jackson Jr. high regard. That's just the reality of it. And to end this article right here, it says the idea of him is fascinating, but the truth is he's less reliable and impactful than most think. That's not true. That's literally not true. Jaren Jackson Jr. is not replaceable. He's not replaceable because the Grizzlies have guys that are worse than him. So this idea that he is less reliable and impactful than people think, if that was the case, 29 out of 30 teams wouldn't have inquired or been interested in Jaren Jackson Jr. this past offseason. Like, let's be honest, man. Like, I'm tired of it. It's the reason why the contenders wanted to go after Jaren Jackson Jr., and that's right there. So I really don't understand the article, and I hate that the national media gets the attention like that sometimes. But hey, people love to see that kind of stuff, and that's just how it goes. Now, switching the subject because I'm tired of talking about it. Some key moves, real quick, that I think going to the next season will benefit the Grizzlies is, and this is mostly just personnel moves. I'm not even talking about like on-court stuff. This is personnel moves. I like how the coaching staff is formulating right now. I think getting more veteran coaches around Izalo is definitely a good sign. Just keep doing that, and I think we're in a good spot. I would say if Jock Landale isn't working as good, even when Zach Edey comes back, if Jock Landale isn't doing as good in the rotation, then I'd say try to get somebody else to kind of fill that void. And I would say you do that by moving on from a contract like John Conchar, see if you could see if somebody is willing to trade that contract, because there was a point in time where people were interested in that contract, but now the Grizzlies aren't really able to move it and they're kind of stuck with it. So if you could find a way to get off John Conchar's contract and still get the center for him, I think you get a very good win in my book. When it comes to Brandon Clark, I really don't know. I personally think I don't think Brandon Clark I don't think he's on the team by the trade deadline. I'm just being honest. I don't think he's on the team by the trade deadline. I don't really see a future, and I've said this multiple times, I don't see a future where Brandon Clark is on the team if they're contending. He just doesn't really fit. His role just doesn't really fit the team anymore, in my opinion, and he still has his struggles. His injury concerns have really ramped up. So I'd say I think those are the keys if the Grizzlies really want to be successful going into the next season. Move-wise, right there. Everything else, I mean, I really got nothing as far as like transactions. I mean, unless you want to call some guys up from the G League, then do that. Other than that, that's trade-wise for me, and I think the Grizzlies would be good right there. And just in some lighthearted news before we end this, Scotty Pippen Jr. actually hosted his first ever basketball camp at the Memphis Sports and Event Center right here in Midtown. Very good sight to see, and the best part about it, the kids got to be in it for free. So Very good job by Scotty Pippen Jr. right there. We love to see the Grizzlies giving back to the community because it's always good to see players interacting with the kids. The kids are the main reason why they are where they are. I mean, don't get me wrong, the adults make the sales, but at the end of the day, the kids sell. The kids are the main reason behind the jersey sales and the reason why the fan bases are what they are. So, huge shout out to Scottie Pippen Jr. and I hope to see that he has more camps in the future, especially right here in Memphis. Really great guy. Yeah, I got nothing to say about him. Just very good sight to see, especially with guys like Ja Morant overseas doing his touring thing, and then you got guys back here doing what they can to help out the youth and the community, especially in a time like this. But as far as this edition of the Grizzlies Daily, that is a wrap. Yeah, I really don't got nothing. It's not much going on, not even any rumors and things like that. So if you got anything, make sure to leave it in the comments for me and I'll check it out. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications so you get notified when we upload right here on Grizzlies Daily. And that's for this edition. My name is Melek, and I'll see you all in the next one.